We have lots to talk about in today's video, including the latest rumors around the NHL. Will Jacob Trouba actually finish the year in Anaheim, or could there be another Trouba trade heading back east closer to the trade deadline? We'll discuss the possibilities there. Plus, what are the Rangers going to do next now that their captain has been moved? There's some speculation they may target a former 50-60 goal scorer who's frustrated and unhappy in his current new destination. Plus, we have some other rumors I want to address as well. There was some speculation online regarding Red Wings captain Dylan Larkin. Plus, we also got word as well from the Philadelphia Flyers on what their deadline plans might be as well. Plus, we got the 3 players on NHL waivers today and some injury updates and more from around the league. And that's coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we got lots to talk about today. A bunch of rumors around the league. Plus, we got some other roster updates and some waivers news, which we'll get started here first. We got word today, 2 o'clock Eastern time, that the NHL has 3 players on waivers today. We've got Joey Anderson, Chicago, Giovanni Smith with the Sharks, and Caleb Jones in LA. So all 3 players will be available to be picked up or can be reassigned to their NHL's minor league affiliates tomorrow, once we find out at the same time whether or not they've cleared or been claimed. I would suspect there's a pretty good chance all guys here clear. I mean, all teams, there are always teams looking for defense, so maybe Caleb Jones gets picked up, but far from a given there. I think there's a pretty decent chance we might see all 3 get through, but we'll find out tomorrow. Some quick updates to some rosters. The Canucks, of course, we know are getting Thatcher Demko back, so they've reassigned Shelovs back to the AHL, so his run with the NHL club is over for now. Kevin Lankinen and Demko will handle the NHL responsibilities for the time being. The Carolina Hurricanes today recalled defenseman Ty Smith. The Philadelphia Flyers also, they're already in action here tonight. They confirmed that Jamie Drysdale and Sammy Erson have been activated and would return to the lineup, which would mean, I believe it was Zamula that was coming out of the lineup for the Flyers this evening. One other quick update from junior hockey as well. Jeff Merrick's reporting today, which is on a story that we kind of heard about before, but it sounds like it's ready to be made official here. But we at the next QMJHL Board of Governors meeting coming up here soon, it should be expected that the Acadie Bathurst team, the Titan, will be the sale will be approved, which will be to a group out of St. John's, Newfoundland, and the team is expected to be relocated there. So I know the team, it's called Acadie Bathurst. They're basically play in Bathurst, New Brunswick here, not too far from where I am in the northern part of the province. Obviously been up that way a few times. It's a smaller area, but I mean, I know a lot of the areas in junior hockey are not necessarily huge, but that team has had some successes, of course, especially during the run when Noah Dobson was there, going to the Memorial Cup. But generally speaking, they've had their financial struggles for sure. At one point, we had several former players and NHL players involved in different, some minor ownership stakes. So, I mean, it's a team that doesn't surprise me. If you look at the province of New Brunswick here, we've really got 3, decent-sized cities with Fredericton, Moncton, St. John, and then you're looking at like Evanston, Bathurst, Woodstock, that type of stuff. And really, Bathurst it's pretty small in comparison to a lot of the other markets, at least. So, like I said, that team has had its ups and downs for a long time. It's unfortunate. I hate to see my province here losing one of their major junior hockey clubs, but it's been a long time coming. I do wonder how it's going to make out in St. John's. I know one of the details that I am curious to see is the issue with Newfoundland over there. There's lots of great hockey passionate fans. The new province of Newfoundland has had different hockey over the years, different levels of junior. It's had the AHL, and it's the travel. That's the issue, because they're so far out of the way. Obviously the province is kind of on its own there, not connected to the rest of the country. So it's different, and it's a unique landscape. And one of the big concerns were, who's going to cover all the extra travel costs, because that's a lot. So I assume when teams go over for the road trips, so maybe they'll play multiple games. I'm not sure how it's going to go. But like I said, St. John's is a beautiful city. lots of great hockey fans there. I have no doubt they'll have lots of support. It's just the logistics of the location that kind of complicate matters. But according to Merrick here, it should be getting approval to go there soon at the next Board of Governors meeting. Now, of course, we know the New York Rangers recently just traded in the last couple of days Captain Jacob Trouba. That situation came to a head and got resolved with him being shipped out to Anaheim. Now, a couple of things I want to start with. One, the Rangers have confirmed that they will not be naming a new captain during this season. So maybe they'll do that for next year. It's hard to say. Some teams have not rushed to go into being a captain, and many people feel that if the roster, the way it is at least, that a good chance the next captain could be Vinny Trocheck, but we'll see. But yeah, don't expect that to happen during the 24-25 season. Now, but staying with Trouba and the former Ranger captain, of course, because we're going to talk still, the Rangers are still dominating the news headlines here. We're going to stick with the former Ranger now as Jacob Trouba. There's a lot of speculation that he may not remain in Anaheim long term. Now, there's an article from Sportsnet, Luke Fox, and others, I believe there's a Hockey News article, kind of suggesting the same thing. Wondering that there's a lot of teams in the East that had shown interest in Trouba. For some of them, the $8 million cap hit was a problem. For some, it may have been, obviously the trade logistics with the Rangers. I don't know. But there was expressions of interest, at the very least, from the Red Wings. We know the Red Wings were close to doing it in the summertime. The Sabres, we've heard about a few other teams too in the Eastern Conference. So the speculation is that, with Anaheim could, use Trouba for the rest of the year. We know they're not going to be a playoff team. That's pretty apparent so far with how their season has gone, in that by the deadline, they could ship him out with 50% retained and get more assets for him. Now, at $4 million cap hit, that's a whole different situation for Trouba. I think a lot of teams would be a lot more interested in what he can bring for $4 million. Now, the only thing is I really question and wonder this, because obviously we know he has a modified no trade, and obviously he can block teams. So I honestly think he might be content to stay there. I don't know if he's going to want to uproot his family. Now, part of this is that we know that his wife was doing a medical residency in New York, and he made it pretty clear in his post-trade comments that he chose family over his career, trying to balance everything out, right? And he said that when he was reviewing his trade options and where he could waive to go to, he accepted the deal to Anaheim because he liked not only the concept of the team and where things they were building towards being something much better, and the team itself, but he was also quite happy with just a whole living arrangement, what was going to be best for him and his wife. So it's expected, I believe his wife, if I'm not mistaken, will be done with her residency by the end of by the summer, I believe. I'm not completely certain on that, but it was believed she had a year left last summer. So that's why I'm going by that. So, they'll have a tough stretch here to get through the rest of this season. Not being together most likely all the time, but I would suspect that he may not want to move again. But I guess they're going to have to evaluate some situations. If the Ducks approach him about making a move, we'll have to see. But so far it seems like he kind of likes the idea of living in California, obviously looking into lifestyle and what's good for his wife and for her career coming up here. So I don't know, but there's lots of speculation that he may not stay. But we'll see where that goes. It's quite early, and we don't know where everything's at here just yet. Now, there was a rumor today floating around that I want to address. It's absolutely nothing to it, but it was getting a lot of attention on social media to the point that a reputable NHL insider had to chime in and kind of make sure that everybody knew this is not legit. But there was some rumors floating around that Red Wings captain Dylan Larkin had expressed interest to leave due to frustrations with the team not having success, and that after all the years he's put in and time and effort there, that he was looking for a change and he wanted out. Now, to be honest, after doing some digging, I believe this was stirred up by angry Sens fans who are kind of pissed about all the attention and constant speculation over the future of their captain, Brady Tkachuk. And I think they just wanted to see how other fan bases would react. And I think they also kind of were doing it as a test just to see if any national media would react as well. Because when we've seen these Tkachuk rumors, it doesn't seem to matter where they come from. Generally, they've been nothing of, legitimacy. But yet we've seen some national publications and seen some big media outlets cover the story. So, they were trying to see if the same thing would happen here with a different captain, different market. And, it didn't really happen. And I think they're kind of trying to prove a point. But at the same time, like they said that one of their posts, though, and I don't know, it was kind of silly. As soon as I read it, I knew it was bogus, saying that Chris Johnson had made these reports. I'm like, well, if you go out there and you say that a reputable NHL insider actually said something like this, they're probably going to respond because they're going to want to defend themselves. So I don't think they really went about this the right way. They're kind of trying to create a hoax just to see if what the reaction would be and to see if it would get national attention. It's to kind of show people like, you need to stop, pulling this shit with Brady Tkachuk because, it can easily be done to other markets. And I get the frustration. I don't condone it. I don't like spreading fake news. I don't like creating fake Twitter accounts and trying to pose as other people. That's not my style. I don't like it. And you do have to be careful with social media because unfortunately in some platforms, as much as I love Twitter and I do, I spend a lot of time on X, like it is, a place that I generate a lot of interactions with fans. I also get a lot of news from reputable sources, but if you're not careful, you can get fake news. And I don't condone that. So I just wanted to talk about the Larkin rumors. Make sure that you know that if you see them, they're not true. Larkin has not requested a trade. Complete bogus, complete BS. It's just angry people frustrated that their captain seems to be targeted all the time. And I get that because a lot of that is, it's frustrating to deal with when you're constantly getting that when there's nothing to it. But going after another team's fan base and getting everybody riled up is really not the way to go about sorting those feelings out. So anyways, Larkin stuff, not true. So don't worry about that. Philadelphia Flyers boss Keith Jones made a recent appearance on the Real Kipper and Bourne show. And of course, the Flyers have had a decent start to the season, found themselves in the mix for the wild card race. And one thing that he did say, make it perfectly clear that basically the Philadelphia Flyers, they're not delusional with where they're at, and they're not getting off track from their plan in order to do something that they're going to regret later. So essentially, he says, they're not going to be adding at the deadline. If anything, they're going to be subtracting again. He actually goes on to say that, that they have a lot of ideas on what they can do with their roster and deals that they might be open to. But essentially that they're not going to be, deterring from their plan and getting ahead of things here and basically, having an asset mismanagement issue. But so they won't be adding, and they're not in a position to contend right now. They're not losing sight of where they need to be in order to become a team that can contend consistently down the road. So, again, good to see. I think it's the right thing for the Flyers. Can they maybe be a bubble playoff team? Yeah, perhaps. I think with the way they've started the year and the way they're playing, they could be in the mix. Maybe like last year, they fell off late, but they, played meaningful games quite a bit of the season, which is, great for them in a way. But they're not losing sight of where they're at. And don't expect them to be making any big moves to make any big additions. If anything, maybe we see a hockey trade. Maybe we see some subtractions. I think you're going to see a few players. I think like a Joel Farabee is a real possibility. Morgan Frost, and guys like that very well will be moved at some point if they can find the right trade. But don't expect them to be, making a big push for playoffs and adding a bunch of players that they really shouldn't be doing at this stage here of their rebuild. And the other big thing today that came across, of course, we know the Rangers, after trading Trouba, they've got some newfound cap space, and there's some speculation from a variety of fronts. Another New York Post article, and of course, I kind of shredded the last one that they had going after, saying that they were targeting Brady Tkachuk, which is what got Sens fans riled up here earlier in the weekend. But it's also mentioning that Steven Stamkos might be a target. And to be honest, it's hard to say if Stamkos is going to move. But we do know this. We do know that he's publicly expressed frustration. We can see it in his demeanor. We can see how he shows on the ice. We see when he talks to the media. Stamkos is not happy and he's frustrated. Now, it doesn't mean he wants to throw the towel in and abort this Nashville mission so early into it. But at this rate, getting late very early in a sense that they're going to be, unable to make the playoffs. I think it's might already be there, but it's pretty darn close if it's not. And, Stamkos obviously signed a free agent contract. I don't think this is what he had in mind. He didn't expect to sign in Nashville and to move on within less than a year. But, in a lot of sense, the Rangers have shown interest in Stamkos before. This isn't the first time. Now, of course, different time, different manager. So it's not the same thing exactly. But, we know that they're going to be going after some more pieces to kind of revamp that Ranger team. They had a game today, again, winnable game, and they lost to the Seattle Kraken. They had a lead. They blew it multiple times. They ended up giving up 7 goals. That's pretty crazy. So, the Rangers are far from done. But I know GM Chris Drury had made comments talking about what might come next, and he said, they're open to certain things and they're looking at stuff, but at the same time, after a big move like trading Jacob Trouba, that they kind of want to let the dust settle a little bit and see where things lie here before they disrupt things too much more. You don't want to do too much, too big, too quick to that room, and really, it could have a negative effect on the team, really, before it gets better. So, understandable for sure. But at the same time, I don't think they're going to be real patient. We know they want to win. We know there's lots of good players on that roster. And we talked yesterday about, Frank Vatrano maybe being a target. But, Steven Stamkos to me does make sense. Now, I'm not going to, say that, Nashville fans probably not thrilled to hear that. But at the same time, they got to understand, too, that, Stamkos is at a different stage of his career. He's obviously just signed a UFA contract, and it makes a little bit more sense that they need to make something happen there. If they can get a good enough return, then maybe they need to look at it. So it's hard to say. I'm not sure what Barry Trotz is going to do. Clearly, they became the oldest, or I think they're the oldest or one of the oldest teams in the league by roster age, and it's just not working out. You get lots of pieces that individually are great. They had great success at different teams, different times, different places, but altogether, it's just not working. And they've got an all-star goalie back there, Nusi Saros, that can cover up a lot of your mistakes and downfalls, and it's still not enough. We had heard comments from Jonathan Marchessault on the other hand saying he didn't sign in Nashville for 1 year, so he intends to want to see it through. Stamkos has not made such comment. Doesn't mean he doesn't want to either. I am sure his preference and first choice is to stay and have success, but it's not happening. So, I believe it was, a 3-year contract that Stamkos signed. It could be intriguing for another team, getting paid similar money to what Trouba made. The only thing that for the Rangers, they could do it this year, but where he's got multiple years on his contract, it would really complicate the Rangers' cap space moving forward, where they just signed Igor Shesterkin to that massive contract as well. But they do have a lot of expiring deals that they could probably finagle things this summer, especially with the increase in cap. And, they just might pull it off. Hard to say. But let me know your thoughts. Should the Rangers be targeting Steven Stamkos as, a big-time player to come in and help this club? Will he be open to leaving Nashville? Will the Predators be open to signing their prize free agent signing already after a failed experiment only a few months into it? Let me know what your thoughts are on all of today's news and rumors down in the comments. We'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, of course, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.